Cardano. Is it going to change the world? It's Charles Hoskinson. He's out there. He's shaking, he's baking. We're at Rare Evo seeing Charles Hoskinson. He's everywhere. He's in Africa. He's banking the unbanked. He's going to change the world. It's going to be the only crypto that we ever need in all of crypto. It's going to replace it all. It's game changer. The best crypto ever even invented by man. Charles Hoskinson is going to create a better planet Earth, a whole new planet Earth, a whole new galaxy. That's what this man's doing. Okay, big brains, or is he the most brilliant scammer of all time? We're going to dig deep. I'm going to ask Crow, my man, Crypto Crow, the hard question. Crypto Crow, who I've been watching ever since 2017, who puts his heart right on his sleeve. It's like you feel it. When you watch this man, you feel the weight of the world pressing down on your body. It's like you just feel it. I mean, he puts it all out there, his heart on his sleeve. I call him crypto's #1 drama king. I love this guy. He's been going. He's been faithful. He's been grinding. He's been faithful. He's been grinding when most people have given up. Not most, a lot of people have given up on Charles Hoskinson. We've been hearing, I've been listening to him. I've been listening to him since 2017, guys. I mean, we're coming up on 2024. That's like 8 years ago. Charles Hoskinson set out to create this thing called Cardano. Okay, this is the biggest, best, most amazing, most technologically efficient, most decentralized, most phenomenal, unbreakable, best crypto chain ever made, ever even imagined by man. Okay, I've been watching it. I've been seeing it. And I got to be honest, I've been losing some faith. Okay, 2020 came around. And I was like, oh, a lot of these things still aren't around. The chain wasn't working, was having trouble, couldn't even connect. Sunday swap, you know, the DEX couldn't even connect it. It was slow. What's going on here? 4 years later. And then another year goes by. And then another year goes by. And I'm like, come on, guys, what's going on? We had my boys right here, blockchain billionaires on. We talked about it a little bit. You know, they're still, you know, they showed me all the projects they have going on their channel. Okay, but I wanted to get Crow. I need to be resold, reconvinced, because we watch Charles Hoskinson out there waxing eloquent all the time about banking the unbanked in Africa and all these grandiose visions for years. We've been watching it now. Is it really going to happen? How long is this going to take? Are we talking 2030, 2040? Okay, when's all this going to go down? You know what? Crow just talked about it today on his show. He's talking about it. I watched it like 5 times. I just watched it and watched it again. And I see the passion in this man's eyes. I've been wanting to get this guy on for a long time, actually, and debate this out. I need some Cardano love, all right, from this man, because I want to be convinced. I'm a fan. I've still been DCAing into Cardano. I've been in it since it was less than a penny. Then I sold, you know, I sold some when it was at $1.26. I remember in 2017. Then it dipped down to 75 cents. I bought some, down to 50 cents. I bought some more, down to 25 cents. I bought some more, down to 10 cents. I bought some more, down to 5 cents. I was buying 4 cents. And I was really buying, I remember back then. Then it went up to like 35 cents and I sold like 2/3, regrettably. Okay, but kept selling all the way up till it was like 3.10. Sold it all. Then since then, I've been DCAing back in. Now, this doesn't matter because we all know that I'm crypto's #1 shit show. Okay, and I lost all my money in crypto, baby. One and only amazing crypto expert right here who can help you lose all your money in crypto. That's what's happened. Big shit show. We're hanging in there, though. We're going to push. We got the bull run. It's upon us, baby. We got Crow out there. I mean, he's passionate and excited. He was today talking about why it's good that Charles Hoskinson is taking his time and developing, because he's developing the best thing man has ever even imagined. Okay, that man, no eye has seen, no ear has heard what Cardano has in store for all of us. That's what we're waiting on. In our man Crow, this whole time, his faith hasn't wavered in Charles. His faith hasn't. It's like when I was talking to Loudmouth, you know, talking about, he's been sticking in there too. He's a huge bull of Charles Hoskinson. Okay, and this man Crow, we've been watching him for years with his heart on his sleeve. He's like gone through hell and back 50 times over. You get his full life. I mean, on his channel, you're going to know all about this man. Okay. And you're going to feel it too, especially if you're an empath. You're going to feel the pain and the agony that this man has gone through all throughout his life. And it's like the whole world is always against him, but he pushes through. He keeps grinding. Then, you know, I'm like, hey, Seth, who, as we discussed on the last show, knows 87% of all knowledge in the universe that mankind could possibly know. Seth knows 87% of it, down to the molecular structure of the ion, to the deep galaxies in the universe. He can write a dissertation about anything. I'm like, let's get this guy in there, because I remember the first time Seth, I had him on, the day before, I think, he had Crypto Crow on his channel right at that same time. And they were talking all about Cardano. I remember we talked a little bit about it when Seth came on. Seth, my man with Mind Your Biz, these guys, they're in the description below. I think they're even streaming it maybe on their channels. I love these guys. Woo! Then, all right, we're just getting started, boys and girls, because then, as we just had Moon Daddy on the show the other day, Moon Daddy fighting this guy, Crow, our boy. It's officially announced. They're fighting in the IFC, Influencer Fight Club, with George. We're all George, baby. We're going to be December 14th, Karate Combat. Okay. First, we're going to watch that. We're going to have the party with George, baby, in Vegas. Going to be epic. In the description below. And Crow has his link in the description below. Buy tickets. They're cheap, and then we're going to watch the fights in Vegas, Karate Combat, on December 15th, which is a Friday night. So Thursday night with George, Friday night, Karate Combat actual fight. Then also, I think there's like UFC that weekend also. Then February or March, we're going to be in the Dominican Republic. I'm fighting. Crow is fighting Moon Daddy. They're shit talking already. We were just shit talking about Crow the other night. I love it. Maybe Seth? I don't know. Seth going to fight? Who knows? We'll see. Woo, baby, we got a lot to talk about. There's also some alpha that Josh, my man, with George, with Cryptos R Us, just dropped for me to talk a little bit about. I'm pumped about it. My man, Crypto Crow, give me some drama. Has this been the most insane day of your life with the whole world? The sky is falling and you are enduring. How are you, my man? Oh,
I'm good.
By the way, guys, one other thing, just full disclosure, Crow is also featured on the TV show Walking Dead. He's Negan, just in case you guys didn't know. Hey, go, baby.
Come on, Lucille. I've been told that quite a few times, actually. It might get me laid if I just play it up to that at some point. I don't know. No.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. I have had probably one of the busiest days. My wife has actually been in Cincinnati for the last day and a half because my stepson's band is performing as we speak. And so she wanted to go out and she took our daughter. So I've had basically the house to myself, and all I've done is work like a crazy person. And I've gotten so much shit done over the last 36 hours. It's amazing. But I do miss my wife. I do, but I'm enjoying the fact that I'm getting all kinds of shit done because she likes to come into my office randomly throughout the day and just launch herself into my chair on top of me and say, "What you doing?" And I said, "Well, more than you, apparently, because you're obviously bored again and you don't have a salsa class to go to. So what are you doing?" So yeah, I haven't had that happen for 36 hours, and it's kind of cool, but I do miss her.
I love it. I love it. Did a monster creep into your house and rip your kidney out of your body, and you had to persevere through that, Crow? I'm sorry. I love you, man. I love this guy. I watched you. I don't know. You had 10,000 subs, maybe, when I first started watching you.
That would have been the first month I started on YouTube.
Oh my gosh. Wow. And you'd have guys come on your channel all the time, paid guys trying to shill their projects, and you just shoot it down.
Yeah, I try to be a little more diplomatic about things nowadays, because over the years, I still do it today. If a project pays me for a paid segment or a review or something, I kind of have a way of giving them the promotion they paid for without trying to sell my fans out. You know what I mean? So and sometimes it's a really good project, and if it's a good project, then I say as much. But it's all my opinion. I'm always right sometimes. Sometimes I call something shit that may not be, and it's why I tell everybody, go do your own research and come to your own conclusion. Don't just listen to me, whether I like something or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had some really pissed off companies
I'm sure
come back to my booking people he totally fucked us over. I'm that's how it goes. You roll the dice. You're not paying for my opinion, just being on the channel.
Right.
Yeah.
Hello. There is so much crap out there, Seth.
So much.
There's so much crap, and they're offering money all the time. George is trying to do his DYOR agency, and it's like most of the time he just shoots down those projects because, yeah, it's wild. So, Seth, how the heck are you today?
Man, I'm doing great. I had a kind of a random speed bump with a couple of hardware wallets. It's that time of the year where everybody's thinking about how to manage their portfolios, right? How to right size stuff, especially with an extremely bullish take like Crows today. It's like if you don't have exposure to Cardano, not a bad day to have some. When you got Crow like being so loud about new developments, like you've got an advocate in your corner. So it makes sense to at least have a little bit of something like invested in that side of the ecosystem. So I've been doing this with a couple other things too, because we have a mutual friend out in Spain who's been pushing to get a lot of us to do evaluations of the Polkadot ecosystem, which if you know your history, right, you got the Ethereum Foundation and the core Ethereum developers, right, the OGs that helped to launch Ethereum. Among them, Charles Hoskinson and who else but Gavin. That's right. No, not Gavin Newsom.
Wood.
Yeah, Gavin Wood.
Vitalik Buterin.
Yeah. Well, Vitalik's okay. He's all right. Yeah. He can be part of the conversation too. But he continued with Ethereum, right? Built out the EVM. You also had Charles Hoskinson continuing to contribute to the code base in an extremely meaningful way by running IOHK, now IO Global, right? Which is been one of the biggest contributors by number of commits to the code base going to Ethereum Classic, which then occasionally feeds back into the mothership, Ethereum. So it's not like Charles and his team haven't been active in Ethereum development. They have been. But Gavin, they built Polkadot, right? That's the direction they went, right? So you got Polkadot on the one hand, you got Cardano on the other, you got Ethereum still holding it down with, let's face it, the majority of the world's TVL when it comes to DeFi and NFTs. They're synonymous with DeFi still. I don't love it. That's just the state of things today, right? So I'm always looking for alternatives, but then I wind up begrudgingly having to go back to everything that's based on EVM. And you know what? Even Cardano had to make a side chain that was EVM compatible so you could use it in MetaMask, because most of the retail plebs are like, well, I know MetaMask. I can use MetaMask. Can I use Cardano on MetaMask? And when the answer comes back no, you got people that wind up complaining. I'm convinced that was part of the prevailing logic behind the Cardano team's decision to have an EVM sidechain. And I suspect now what we're going to find, I'm going through the form to be admitted as a developer on Midnight Network, so I can really pour over the documentation because there's nothing public at all. But I suspect that Midnight also might not have a traditionally Cardano-like base layer, but that you might be able to use it with other more traditional smart contract wallets. I have yet to see that. There's very sparse documentation on how Midnight works, but the concept of ZK protocols or zero knowledge proofs becoming a primitive on blockchains, I love that narrative. I'm very bullish on that narrative. And so with Midnight launching, I do want to see anything that enhances privacy succeed. So I'll admit that bias right now, but I also have a bias against Cardano.
Real quick, I think one of the reasons, during my whole kind of revelation yesterday, it kind of dawned on me why there isn't much on Midnight yet. And like, if you watch the video where I'm kind of breaking down the plans and kind of how it all kind of comes together, I don't really think Midnight is what is in need of developers. I think Midnight is like the proof of concept, so to speak, for their entire framework. So in other words, they're working on building out this framework that ultimately Midnight is a product of, so that they could then provide that to other development companies to say, here's how we built Midnight. Here's all the tools that you need to do the same thing with your own consensus model, your own, all of the different things that Midnight is made up with. Does that make sense? So I don't really think a lot of that's public yet because it's not done yet. They don't even have that all 100% figured out. So, it's almost like, I almost look at Midnight as an example of a development kit, if that makes sense. I'm guessing that's how it is based off of what I've seen and what Charles was explaining in his whiteboard and all of that.
Right.
It's not that it's not going to be a 4th generation blockchain. It is, but it's just one primary example of what is being built with the frameworks that they're putting in place to ultimately operate as part of the Cardano ecosystem, sharing the same constitution, if you will, as I explained in that video.
Yeah, and I did watch that video from start to finish. I really appreciate. I mean, and I hope that the Cardano ecosystem appreciates that they have members of the community like you that will be that loud and giving interpretations that make the entire roadmap and the tech stack feel more accessible, right? Because those analogies, they do help a lot. They help to humanize the technology, right? Like this stuff, it's very cold right at the edges, and if you're not a person that spends time in the thick of it, then you're not going to understand a lot of the stuff. I do get.
I'm not going to lie. Listening to Charles is like watching paint dry, because I know he's excited sometimes, but listening to him, he's like an AI tech manual. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's very easy to gloss over a tech manual until you get to a part that clicks and you're like, oh no, that's the screw I need to undo. Everything else doesn't matter. I'm just trying to figure out how to get this one screw out of here. So it's like listening to Charles can be very kind of daunting. And I was seeing in the comments how it's just going over everyone's head. But it goes over mine too. When you're first listening to a lot of it, it's like rapid fire technical shit with acronyms and all this stuff being thrown at you. And you're like, what the fuck is this guy even talking about? How does he keep track of all this? Right. So I had to go back through with a fine-tooth comb, pause and start, writing everything down. How does this connect with that? Oh, that makes sense. And as I was doing that, that's when things really started to click. And I feel like there's kind of a sub narrative to everything Charles breaks down that he's not necessarily saying. And so when you connect everything together, that narrative starts to form in your head. And that was the epiphany that I had. That was when the lights went on and I'm like, son of a bitch, I get it. It makes sense now. You strip all of the technical gobbledygook and noise. It all boils down to this. And that was basically why I did the video. And there's more coming. Like and I think that's going to be something that I do regularly. I'm going to start watching every one of his things. And when he starts speaking, Zeta Reticuli to everybody, I'm just going to decipher it and like kind of redo it in a more layman's way.
Okay, got it. I just shared something with Grady right now. I don't know if he wants to put this on screen, but I want proof that I'm leaning in to do my due diligence here. I just want you to see this, Crow. I want you to see this while we're live. I want you to see that I'm taking your warnings seriously. And I'm leaning in. I want to learn a lot more about Midnight Protocol. So I just added that. It looks like another person down in like in the main area where you would bring guests up.
Screen. Yeah. Look at this guy.
There you go. Proof of having submitted to the Midnight developer application, right? So, but here's the thing though, Crow. I told him I was you.
That's funny.
Seth, I wouldn't expect anything less. He's already creating applications to be a Midnight developer. Seth, what does this man not do? In a zombie apocalypse, you want Seth in your corner. He'll go outside with an axe, start chopping down trees. He'll build you a house. Then he'll create electricity from nothing. Who knows how he does it? Then he'll start mining Bitcoin from nothing, baby. Okay, that's what this man does. There's no end to this.
Well, I definitely appreciate that. Here's something let me distill down to some base differences of smart contract systems that I do understand, broadly speaking. I know right now UTXO based systems, which Cardano is based on, is unspent transaction outputs similar to Bitcoin. Very similar system. It's different from the so-called account system from Ethereum virtual machine and anything that's related to Ethereum, right? So stuff like Polygon and stuff like Binance Smart Chain, all those other systems. And then, of course, the sidechain that Cardano launched that also runs in MetaMask. But anything you could address with MetaMask or use with MetaMask is an account-based system. Very different from Bitcoin in that key aspect where you don't use change addresses. You don't use multiple addresses. You're not really supposed to use a whole bunch of different wallet addresses with these kinds of systems. But then with Bitcoin and other UTXO systems like Cardano, you do, right?
I know in
very
common.
common.
You get like 30 of them.
Right. Yes. And and you're scratching the surface, right? From one single seed phrase, you could hypothetically, you could derive millions of addresses and never reuse the same address that somebody else has with their seed phrase. So it's an incredibly robust system of helping you to just use semi-anonymized wallets because you don't reuse them ever. You figure the number of times that you've ever used, say, a debit card your entire life, if you tallied it up, every single time you had done that in a given, like an average lifetime, you almost can't use a debit card 1 million times in your lifetime. It would be very hard to do. If you just tally it up, number of days you're alive, number of swipes you have to make in a day, you almost can't get there. But with crypto wallets and with specifically with your seed phrase, I mean, they made this accessible to you and to me, like plebs. We can have this military grade anonymity set with these wallets we can create. UTXO systems like Bitcoin and like Cardano, that's something they do very well. And I'm extremely grateful that that Satoshi left that legacy for guys like Charles to build on. With these account-based systems, like, you know, what Vitalik is asking you to do, they're talking about like soulbound tokens, ENS. They want you to tie one single name to, you know, to one address and have you dox yourself and your entire holdings, your entire portfolio in one address. It's kind of crazy from a privacy perspective. So,
but isn't everything Ethereum based kind of focusing more and more around the censorship?
Yes,
and being able to track everything that you do. I mean,
yes.
that's just been, you know, while all these people are like, yay, Ethereum, we love Ethereum, we had that first and we love it. And it's like, that sounds great. But I feel like every year something else comes out or is revealed about the inner workings of how Ethereum is. And not only that now, but they're basically looking to start copying a lot of the elements that are, you know, being finalized for Cardano. So it's like, what even is Ethereum anymore? To me, Ethereum just kind of feels like a bit of a zombie chain. People say ghost chain. I feel like it's a zombie chain with all kinds of parts. It's going to end up like my old Oldsmobile back in the day that had like it had a Buick engine in it, and it had it had all its whole inner workings of the car were from like 10 other cars, and it broke all the time, you know,
and it gets like 8 miles to the gallon, right? Yeah, to use the gas analogy, it gets like 8 miles to the gallon too. Yeah, you're absolutely screwed.
I used to think this about Bitcoin and Ethereum back in 2018. So what did I do? I sold most of my Bitcoin, Ethereum, and went into all the shit coins everywhere. And thinking that other things would come in and outdo it, replace it with better tech. You know, that's what I kept thinking would happen. Well, instead, those kept getting upgraded. And so what we've got now coming is, like you just said, Seth, ZK Sync. ZK Sync is a game changer. So it's going to be tough to compete with ZK Sync when that goes live. And so Crow, I've got some pushbacks here with Cardano. For one, let me say that Charles is the master at, you know, dealing with FUD. He takes the FUD head on. It's like he's the one bright and shining example in crypto. Most of these crypto projects, when it comes to messaging and communication, like they cannot get out of their own way. It's big brain nerd devs creating stuff. Okay. And then as far as communicating that, it's like, it's so bad. Disconnect central, not able to like get people, inspire people, and also take the FUD head on, put people's minds at ease, and bring peace and confidence and knowledge. You know, that's what he does so well. Without Charles Hoskinson, okay, grinding this whole time through with his videos and communicating, I don't think we'd have the Cardano army anywhere near what it is today. That's what he does, is instill confidence into the project. So it's like, it's an example for projects out there. It's like obvious to me. Cardano would be toast after 8 years of promises after promise after promise without Charles Hoskinson saying, hey, look, it's going to take time. I'm not worried about the price of the coin. I'm just going to do my thing and develop. Okay. And people believe him, right?
If you were building a cure for cancer,
right,
would you be more worried about it working the first time, or would you just continue throwing it out and testing it on people as they're growing fourth arms, or, you know, their heads are falling off, and then trying to figure out why did their head fall off? That's kind of the way I look at Cardano, as crazy maximalist as that may sound. When you're trying to build something that is ultimately supposed to be the framework for a global economy full of interwoven economies throughout, you have to have that work at first try. You can't just throw a bunch of shit to the wall, let a bunch of people use it, and then figure out how to fix all the holes later. You know, it's not. You don't want to build a sinking ship and spend the rest of your life trying to patch it. You want to make sure that ship is going.
Yep, which is a strong argument. You just said, let me repeat it. You don't build shit and then have to keep patching it up as you go along, which a lot of, you know, this often happens in the space. We see it. Yeah. Or they got to redo the code. They got to rework all the code that they've just been spending 6 months working on it. We hear this all the time.
That's true, but at the same time, there's a bunch of stuff that just happens within cryptocurrencies that is really difficult to predict. Case in point, you have the testnet, one of the Ethereum testnets, the Gwirly testnet, that all of a sudden, these are testnet tokens, by the way. They're designed to be free so that developers can just take free collateral and test out their smart contracts. Well, we saw this last year that it developed a market. A market was made for it, where people started paying actual money for these testnet Ethereum tokens. I think it ran up to something like over $150 a token, which is ridiculous for something where there are free faucets for developers, and they priced out developers on a testnet because a market was made for these tokens. All I'm saying is stuff gets weird in crypto, man, when you have incentives and when you have, automated market makers and decentralized exchanges, and when it's permissionless, right? The moment you push publish on that code and you go mainnet and you're not testing anymore, it's out of your hands in a big way. And if you roll back the chain, well, clearly it wasn't as permissionless as you said. So,
right. And so but how long do you wait? Like, let's say 2030 comes around, because here's the thing. Like, I thought that about Ethereum too, but when you look at it, that's where most of the traction is in crypto, like real world stuff. I use DeFi Kingdoms a lot as an example. They built a blockchain, a subnet, Avalanche subnet. It works. It does 3 million transactions per day. Okay. It's done 4 or 5 million in a day before. And it's like actual things. Like, I can play the game on DeFi Kingdoms now. The game's out. There's multiple games you can play. You've got NFTs. You can mint new NFTs, the complex code. You can combine NFTs. You can bridge them. It's like an in-game economy. There's actual utility. There's actually things going on there. Okay. Versus Cardano. Okay. And correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm saying all this, by the way, from the viewpoint of I'm rooting for Cardano. I love Charles Hoskinson. I want it to be the game changer that he's proclaiming, and that Crow today on his video proclaimed. I loved it. Okay. It's like F all of crypto except Cardano. Essentially, it's like, this is like the biggest brains, most amazing thing ever invented. Okay. And so I want that to be true, but it's like, how long until it's like, okay, he's been waxing eloquent about this for years and years and years and years.
So it sounds to me like one of your biggest complaints is the time it's taken to get here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the lack of actual real world things and developers and things going on in the blockchain compared to others.
You think so? Yeah. So when I look at Cardano and I think of real world use cases and real world development, you have to look no further than World Mobile Token for that.
Okay, yeah.
The World Mobile Token is one of the most viable use cases I've seen on a blockchain to date that wasn't specifically meant for some financial cash grab.
Okay.
So when you want to talk about use cases, we can talk use cases. They're there. It's just they're not necessarily out trying to be cash grabs, and they're not being promoted all over the place by venture capitalists trying to capitalize on the Ponzi-nomics associated with the project. World Mobile Token is out there literally connecting the unconnected and setting down a wireframe framework from which they're going to be able to further develop and build on the use case of Cardano throughout countries that currently aren't connected. What other blockchain do you know of that can claim such a use case? And when I see this kind of stuff, I think to myself,
but wait, is that really happening though?
Yes, that's really fucking happening. They're putting pictures up every day. It's all over their Twitter. You can watch it. You can call them. They'll come on and they'll show you and they'll talk to you all about it. I mean, the thing of it is putting up these big, I call them blimps. They hate to be called blimps, but putting up these big balloons in the sky that are ultimately creating this mesh network for all of these people to connect with. It's not as sexy, right? When the layman's doesn't look at that, they don't look at that and think, oh, wow, that's going to jump the token price up tomorrow. I better buy some. I wonder what everyone's talking. Nope, not many people are talking about it because it's not sexy. It doesn't look like it's going to turn your $1 into $10 tomorrow. And that's what the crypto market has learned to expect over the years, that you can put $10 into a project, wake up tomorrow after throwing your Ethereum to some random fucking wallet, and you're going to come back to $10,000 sitting there. And that's how a lot of us have been conditioned to expect and to evaluate a crypto project. But we're going away from that. Whether people like it or not, we're moving away from that. That is the most speculative, Wild West cowboy times And those are going to continue to dissipate as regulation sets in, as a lot of this stuff continues to transpire. We're getting these big institutions that are going to come in. They're going to try and wreck everybody's faces. We're all cheering them on. Yay, ETF. Wait till these ETFs come. And then these people are basically working with the SEC and everyone else to figure out ways to make sure we can't get access to all this shit anymore, because it puts too much of a damper on their profitability with these ETFs, right? But what do you think is going to have the most viable opportunity for becoming ETFs in the hands of these institutions? Real fucking world use cases that they don't want to get rid of for one reason or another. It's not going to be your shitty little DeFi token that gets a 5,000 APY yield every day just because you staked it to some cartoon. Nobody's going to give a shit about that. It's going to be all about the real world changing and transitioning into, think about it. You said 2030. 2030 is going to be the time when everything changes. We're going to have these 15-minute cities all over the place. Whether they're full of crackheads or not, they're going to be all over. Okay. This whole narrative associated with how the world is going to be connected and this whole transhumanism model and all of this. What do you think they're going to use? Do you think they're going to try and implement Ethereum for this kind of technology? Well, you're going to buy a candy bar waving your fucking hand in this 15-minute city and you paid $350 in transaction fees? Get the fuck out of here. It's not happening. It's only possible and it's only valuable to the people that are trading high dollar yield DeFi applications. When you make 20 grand in 48 hours, you'll pay the $250 transaction fee. But when that's not a possibility anymore, what do you got? And these are all the places that Cardano comes into play. And on top of that, when all these service layers start popping up, every one of these little niche economies within these little service layers, based off of the company and the protocol and what they're trying to accomplish with it, all of these things are going to be intertwined, working together in one, like a big oil pipeline. And you're not going to be able to compete with that. And we can talk transactions per second, and we can talk about, I'm not even a developer. Okay, I don't dive into the code. I don't go in like Seth and look at the code and think to myself, well, this fucking comma's off. I don't think this is viable. And not that he's ever said anything like that. I'm just saying I can't look that deep. So I am partially blind in my observation. But everything that I am able to make sense of, it really doesn't take. If I can make sense of it, anybody can. I'm not a rocket scientist and I'm not a developer. And it all shines through so clearly to me. And at that point, it's about adoption. It's about adoption of the developers. Well, the developers are going to come on board as more of these different systems, Marlowe, Plutus, all this shit starts gaining ground, and people are able to start showing what is possible on this new blockchain. And right now, you've got a lot of developers building on Ethereum or Solana or what. Look, I was offered money by Solana to build some shit on there. I said, fuck no. It's like they're throwing money everywhere they can so that they can say, look at how powerful, look at how great we are. Oh, we just shut down. We got to hold on, reset. And it's like, listen, that is not something you're going to run a global economy on. And that is the direction we're going. So while everybody's staring over here into DeFi and how much yield they can get by staking tokens and playing with NFTs, that's all fun and dandy. That's a use case, sure. But Cardano is focused on a global economy and a global framework from which other people are going to empower themselves with the tools provided to build onto something that nobody else is going to have. I'm ready for a nap.
Oh, baby. It's like mic drop. Okay, so let me push back. Let me push back all that, because when we see the actual developers in Cardano versus other ecosystems, like especially Ethereum, there's and when I talk to other people who actually develop the code, who know both Cardano and that, a lot of the feedback I've gotten, and you can push back to anything I'm saying, is that it's like, no, Cardano, Okay, so essentially here's been
no, wait. Why?
You're relying on a narrative being put out there by a person. Essentially.
No, I think you're also potentially believing a narrative put out by other people. Why are they saying, oh, Solidity's better than Haskell?
Well, okay. So like, for example, with Cosmos, I was in every single protocol back when before Luna went through what it went through. It had 50 million different, protocols on there. It worked phenomenal, fast, cheap. I mean, they were actually doing things like decentralized banking, having a debit card. You could completely get the bank out the way, 100% decentralized. That was going on in South Korea. Okay. And
didn't Tron have all that
happening here? And so many different protocols. Okay. Then, you know, I have all this Cardano that I'm wanting to just connect SundaeSwap to the damn DEX to connect my wallets to the DEX, and it couldn't even do that. And then each freaking transaction took forever. It wasn't working. The damn stuff wasn't working. And then you look at the devs, it was supposed to be copy, paste, easy code, all these grandiose promises that Charles puts out. Okay. It becomes a narrative that you have to believe. And then you have to preach it instead of real world, actually working utility and use case. But if you're saying that it's actually happening with things like World Mobile Token, I want to hear all about it. I need to catch up. I used to have some World Mobile Token.
I have 100,000 of them.
Nice.
And they've been staked for I don't know how long, so I don't know how much more I have now. I've been staking them for quite a while. Here's the thing: as far as the Sunday swap and Charles making promises or whatever.
Okay,
I think sometimes when this is how I put it into perspective. Let's say you and I are fighting. All right, we've got karate combat. It's you and me, baby.
Let's go.
And people are asking me, how are you going to do this? I'm going to say, well, I'm going to run in. I'm going to fucking sweep his legs. And then when he gets up, I'm going to fucking leg kick the shit out of him until his legs are numb. And as soon as he starts to weaken, I'm going to do a spinning back kick and end the fucking fight. 42 seconds. That's it. Right. And then you've got your game plan. Right. And you're watching videos on me and you're saying to your people, this is how I'm going to win the fight. Right. And we go in there. None of that fucking happens.
Right. Exactly.
None of that happens. Why didn't it happen? Well, because I can try to anticipate what I think I'm going to do to you. You can try and anticipate what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do to you. And this is all based off of the tool sets that I know I have as a fighter, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean that I promised everybody I was going to spin kick you. It doesn't mean I promised everyone I was going to leg kick the shit out of you. I just projected what I felt should or would or possibly will happen. And then there are variables to that. And when those variables arise, that's when you learn. Yeah. I don't know the details about Sunday Swap, but when I see, everything that Cardano's been doing over, all of these years, yeah, I would expect there to be some issues, especially when you're talking about the utilization of a code that's by and far not widely used in the crypto space, right? And there are reasons why it is used. And to me, and I'm just guessing here, Seth would be a better voice on this, but when I think about security, I know everything I have to do to try and keep my shit secure, right? If it's easy for me to get access to something or it's easy for me to do something, that means it's just as easy for somebody else to do it too that I don't want in it. And when I look at, I get the narrative. Haskell's a little more complicated. Yeah, it's more complicated because it's more capable. And there's a lot of shit that you're able to do to keep your blockchain more secure than you're going to be able to do with some of these other blockchains, which is proven based off of the number of fucking hacks that happens pretty much every other day, especially in a bull market. We haven't seen much of that at all in Cardano. And how many cycles? Why is that?
Oh, that's a good point. I don't know of any Cardano hacks.
Well, I'm gonna posit a guess here that it's a little bit like the argument that Mac OS air quotes doesn't get viruses. That was a narrative for a lot of years, and it was the reason that people would give for why you should switch to Mac OS and ditch Windows computers. That was a security through obscurity. Out there. No, yeah, more Windows machines. Yeah, so security through obscurity was kind of the prevailing wisdom. If you ask a question like that, you got to be prepared for the answer to be that there's not enough happening on Cardano for people to go after just the base asset. That said, I'm sure that
lie about what's happening on Cardano. You can look at the on-chain metrics and know that plenty is happening.
Exactly. No, all I mean to say is, like, as far as DeFi, right? Total value locked outside of the native asset. That's all I meant with that comment. Clearly, yeah, there's stuff happening on Cardano. But what I mean to say is, like,
but I don't think it touches all the DeFi ecosystem. It's like not even close. The development activity isn't even close to what's going on in other chains. Okay, keep going.
It's not even just the development activity. I'm talking about the outside. So capital inflows, right? So being able to get VC funding, and I don't want to put Crow on the spot here because he's not a VC. He's not directing people's people's investments, right? I know it's not your charter is to like tell people how to invest their money, but I'm just curious to know how many VCs in like right now, end of 2023, moving into 2024, how many VCs are saying, you know what, I really want to drop $15 million across a few projects in Cardano, versus the number of VCs that are saying, you know what, this whole ordinals thing looks kind of promising. I want to drop $15 million into ordinals on Bitcoin. Because I can tell you that VCs are saying the latter, not the former. As far as what I'm hearing them actually find interest in Bitcoin.
$15 million onto Bitcoin now that's been around since 2009. And we're trying to compare a third generation and ultimately a fourth generation blockchain to the overall effects of Bitcoin. Bitcoin.
Yeah, no. All I'm saying is right now the intent of VCs. And what they saw was the Taproot upgrade that now enabled ordinals, which doesn't make it a third generation blockchain. Let's be real. It is still basically the same blockchain it was 5 years ago. Frankly, most of Bitcoin is. But that new innovation of doing the ordinal inscriptions has gotten people excited because of some of the additional applications and use cases. I know a team based out of Borneo that they're doing calls and puts, like a decentralized order book on Bitcoin that you can write into Bitcoin immutably based on ordinal inscriptions. And it's kind of a kludge. I know you're like, what the hell? Like, why would you want to do that? That'd be like trying to make a Turing complete computer out of like a bunch of like abacuses. I get that. Like, it's weird, but they're doing that. They're doing that because for them, they see, okay, well, this helps us to lock in value in a way that is genuinely unique. And there's all these old bags of Bitcoiners that have, you know, whatever, they're closet millionaires or bajillionaires, right? Your Max Kaisers of the world who have stupid money coming out of their butt in the form of Bitcoin. So I know that's part of the answer there, but all I'm saying is what I'm hearing is this weird narrative of VCs being willing to invest in Bitcoin because of ordinals, not Lightning, mind you. That whole thing cooled off. It's like an icebox over in Lightningville. Nobody's talking about developing on Lightning hardly at all anymore. But ordinals are the new hotness there. Yeah, it's because the scaling has been proven not to be quite as resilient as they thought.
Yeah, but that's just part of it. Like VCs, there's probably the most VC money going into Ethereum-based chains or Avalanche.
Bingo. Like yeah. And now Polygon and their supernets, Avalanche and the subnets.
EKC.
Polygon. Well, Polygon just added something. I was just on a space earlier today, Twitter, with Sandeep from Polygon, discussing this new CDK solution that they have, where they're using ZK EVM, and it runs today. You can do shared security with them today to launch that natively within the ecosystem. It's not a second layer. It's not a sidechain scaling solution. It is. It's a sort of a child chain, right? It's like a daughter or a son chain. But it's not really designed to scale the original chains. It can be used with app-specific chains, though. Let's be very real. When we talk about like Web3 gaming, for example, one use case that everybody loves to talk about right now, and this is not me casting shade on Web3 gaming. I hope that all the Web3 games succeed. I hope that all the worthy Web3 games succeed. Right. I really do. Right. And I hope the retail joins us, right, and brings in more liquidity on any chain. I'm not trying to be a maxi here, but let's be very real. The number of transactions you would need that chain to be able to do just to scale with one World of Warcraft. We don't have a blockchain right now that would accommodate that. If you did every single in-game transaction,
How many in-game transactions are you talking about?
That's what I'm getting at, is that when you talk about the real time, like we have to commit all this stuff to the main chain. Maybe we don't. Maybe we really don't need to commit everything to the main chain. No, chain.
You don't. And there are ways that you can package all those transactions on Cardano so that the actual TPS that you see, it's irrelevant. I mean, if you and I've done these calculations on my channel before as it related to Hydra, and even then those calculations didn't even reflect the fact that you can have hundreds of transactions within a single transaction on Cardano. So the transactions I was doing, I think it ended up being like, well, you figure, and I can't remember, what is it, 1,000 transactions per second per node times 3,000 average number of nodes. Right now it's at like 2850. So multiply 1,000 TPS potential per node times, call it 2,500 nodes.
Yeah, that's
blow that up over. I mean, that alone is in the millions. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Or 250 million.
Yeah,
but then hold on. So then you take that throughput, right? And let's just say that's not even accurate right now because there aren't enough Hydra nodes. There's not enough of that's launched yet, right? the framework is there, the potential is there, the systems are there. They just haven't been fully adopted yet because there's so much shit in development still that we haven't seen yet. Cardano has been the #1 most developed blockchain in existence for how fucking long now? Like,
yeah, no, I take issue with that too, Crow. I'm gonna share with something with you that for me shattered my belief window when it came to development a couple years ago.
Because I already forgot the last point I was going to make. I want to make sure I get this one through, you bald motherfucker. Now,
all right, bring it.
Yeah, you're all brains, I'm all heart, so I got to get my chance in here. This is like Rocky versus fucking Dolph Lundgren over here.
I love this.
So like, but the thing of it is when you calculate all that shit, and I'll let you try to shoot this down, and that's fine. But if you just calculate that throughput, right, just with Hydra and all the nodes and everything else, and then you multiply that by the number of actual transactions within an individual transaction, all of those data blocks, all of that, let's just call it content in each transaction, the number blows out anything. And I know that people are saying, but we're not seeing that. No, we're not seeing it yet. A lot of this shit just fucking launched. A lot of this stuff is all stuff that has been laid out in roadmaps, laid out in time frames. And no, not everything has been hit. Not everything has been hit at the time they said it was going to be hit. When was the last time anybody's ever developed anything and said, we're going to get A, B, C, D done by this date, this done on that date, and it's actually fucking hit? It never happens.
Code's it's notorious pain in the ass. No, code is a notorious pain in the ass in terms of setting out timelines for sure. So when people try to hold any team to a very specific date on timelines, it's like video game publishers, man. Video game publishers don't tell you the exact date.
I'm completely sober, by the way. I cannot drink. I've got a fight I'm trying to train for. I can't drink. It sucks.
I love that was
drunk already.
Did somebody literally ask? I'm like, where is this coming from, man? Okay, did I have to catch up? Is that
no? Go ahead, Seth. Like then we'll address George's question here. But you were about to say something. Push back on something.
Oh, so the pushback is primarily when it comes to development, and development is a metric. I had my belief window shattered a few years back, Crow, and this is it brings me no joy to bring it up in this conversation, but I feel like I should. A couple of years ago, I had a co-host on a weekly show that I did for a little while who reminded me that anytime that you see somebody do what's called a white space change or a spelling correction inside of a repository, that counts as a commit, even with no transformative code ever being changed, with no meaningful addition to the code base ever being changed. You can do
that was claimed by a lot
changes.
Of people for a long time, and that was disproven on Cardano. You can go look at, you can see what the repository changes are and the size of the size of them, as I understand it. So that they're of substance and not just somebody hitting a space bar and resubmitting.
No, I know. What I'm getting at is that you can also drastically alter the size of a commit by adding blob storage, by adding various storage blobs like a JPEG. These aren't hard things to game.
Let's say that were happening. Couldn't you just verify that right now? And if it's open source and it's all there, can't you just go? Wouldn't somebody have already pulled that shit down and exposed it a long time ago?
People don't, though. Here's the thing, Crow. I think that you've heard the same thing.
Dude, I guarantee you, I'm sorry, but with the number of Solana VCs that are pushing for these fucking narratives all over the place about how Cardano sucks and they're this and they're that, you don't think for a second that out of all the dirty tactics they've played over the years, they wouldn't be the first to go and try and oust Cardano for throwing blob chains or whatever the fuck you're talking about.
Right. No, I hear what you're saying about Solana, and that's a different topic, man. I got they can catch these hands on a different day, right? So I've got no love for Solana at all. And I've gone on Twitter Spaces and fought everyone with regards to Solana.
I'm just saying, like, if it were a thing, it would already have been exposed a long time ago by any one of these competing blockchains or the people that are funding them.
I don't know that I agree with that, because if that were true of, say, Solana, for example, people would have come public with that as well. I do have a bit of an issue with specifically development by way of commits being the main criteria. What I'd like to see is delivered functionality, because I could spruce up the front end of a website all I want. If it doesn't actually improve buyer intent or conversion, meaning real world application, people actually wanting to use it, then those changes were not necessary. I could do, for example, on my web page, it could be a simple Midnight, their web page, you saw it. Simple white page with black text. It converts as well as web pages ever did in the last 25 years. There are some things that get over-engineered. And I think some people have that criticism of Cardano too, not because Haskell is like overly complex, but because it's overly broad. You don't need blockchains to do everything that a typical web app does. And you also don't need to necessarily go into changes like esoteric changes like we won't accept JavaScript, TypeScript only. I talk to full stack developers on a regular basis, and I've heard them say like, yeah, TypeScript, I guess, it does force you to use the more traditionally canonical rules. Like you have to be grammatically correct when you submit your code, but it's a pain in the ass and it still doesn't work as, it still works the same number of times that JavaScript does. JavaScript actually still it runs and it's whatever. I guess it's.
Why do you think Midnight is set up to run with TypeScript?
I think it's set up to run with TypeScript because it's compiled instead of interpreted. And they're going for speed there, which is a typical thing that everybody in Cardano does because they're all academic eggheads.
So here's my question, and this isn't to you necessarily, but it would be to Charles, and it's one that I'm sure they won't answer yet. What if, and this is the way my mind works. So there's two parts to this. Number one, you say, you use the term over-engineered. Did you know in 2017 that Midnight was going to come? Did you know that they were building the systems that they would be able to use to launch Midnight in 2017, 2018, 2019?
Well, no, because the referenced white paper for Midnight was only written in 2021, but go on.
But the systems that they've used to build it and the systems they're using to put it into place have been.
Okay, I just read the white paper right now.
I'm not talking about the white paper for Midnight itself. Yeah. I'm talking about for Cardano. If you go and you go and you reference a lot of the materials that are talking about what the capabilities of the Cardano blockchain are going to be, you can see how Midnight would fit into that. What you're saying leads to my second point. How do you have a white paper for something that is ultimately potentially universal across the board, and there could be 10,000 other Midnights written in different code but still functional using the same pipeline that Cardano offers and the same security through the proof of stake model?
Crow, I'm just telling you, brother. Midnight is based on the Kachina white paper from 2021.
You're missing my point.
Then it's too broad. Refine it for me.
Yeah,
okay.
He's just trying to say, look, all this foundational pieces.
I'm looking at Midnight as a test. A test. Yeah. I'm not necessarily looking at Midnight as like, I'm sure Midnight is going to be cool, but I'm saying, why did they pick TypeScript for that? Why are they doing all of the different things they're doing as it relates to Midnight? If it's not to potentially show people you can do this too, use whatever code you want. You want to use this code, you want to use that code for whatever your purpose is. We're still going to share the same constitution of Cardano, and you're still going to be able to secure your blockchain through Cardano and our nodes, but you're going to be able to build what you want to build the way you want to build it. And I am of the school that thinks Midnight is the first case study to demonstrate that. And I don't necessarily think people are seeing it that way. I guess maybe I'm just not explaining it well. I have to do my own video and break it all down.
No, I hear.
Sure. If I can just jump ahead here, Josh, he's up on the screen right now, mentioning that. Well, it's not on screen just yet. Mentioning that he views Midnight as a snooze fest because it's a financial layer with more privacy. I disagree. They are using, and they're not outright saying that they're using ZK snarks. They just mentioned zero cash in the white paper as something that they might take inspiration from. And which is not, frankly, strictly speaking, the same as ZK snarks and Zcash. It's a little bit confusing, but they talk about kind of deprecated privacy techniques and ZK proofs in that white paper. For my part, again, Carl, I'm going to keep saying it. If they add privacy through this development and we get users, I'll be lockstep with you, man. Locking elbows, being like, all right, come to Cardano, Midnight, because it's giving you real privacy. I just don't know that that's the case. I think what I keep seeing is SDKs that people aren't building applications that users want to use. That's the other concern.
You want me to be real honest about what I think of Midnight?
Sure. You know what? Hold on. Wait. Live first.
Huh? Yeah, live first.
Yeah.
No. And this is the only thing that in the back of my mind, as I read anything Cardano related, it makes me worry. And I know that Charles has said things like, if the World Economic Forum wins, we're all doomed, right? But what does the World Economic Forum ultimately want? And I'm not going to get deep into conspiracy here, but this has been an ongoing, deeply rooted kind of thought and a concern in my own mind for a long time. If we were to ever have a universal global blockchain that ultimately powered, Internet of Things, controlled everything in your freezer and controlled your digital ID and controlled all of the different elements associated with living a life and the 15-minute cities and everything else. There's only one blockchain I see developing the frameworks to be able to build those applications with their own blockchains, with their own set of rules, sharing the same constitution that is secured by a truly decentralized blockchain, and that's Cardano. And when I think about, midnight, what is midnight? You say privacy, but the way I've understood it is that, there are use cases for the way that this is being set up, in the sense that, like right now, if you say, how old are you? I have to show you my ID. It gives you my home address. It tells you everything about me, my hair color, my height, everything. But what if you were able to just wave your hand and it says, I'm old enough to drink. I'm old enough to get a tattoo. It's not telling you where I live. It is providing that sense of privacy, right? And so that is what I see as I don't see this being like privacy in the sense of like a Monero coin, where, I'm going to send all these transactions all over the place and they're not going to be tracked somewhere. I see it as a use case for what would potentially be a digital voting system through the use of a digital ID, where the presentation of the information within your ID is fairly protected and private, unless somebody has another application that's able to access that data. That's what I see as being built with Midnight. And some of that does concern me.
Yeah, so I'm hearing a lot of what you're saying, and I agree, right? So painting a picture with broad strokes, you're right. Monero offers privacy in a different way for a different application. And from what I'm reading so far, yes, totally aligned there. What Midnight is offering is a toolkit that'll help add some privacy a little bit as this sidechain solution. But again, Cardano has an EVM sidechain already also. And because it has an EVM sidechain already today, it could be supported with ZK-enabled smart contracts like Tornado Cash, like Railgun, like SideShift, you name it. There's got to be about a half dozen projects that could add privacy to air quotes Cardano, but the Cardano EVM sidechain today. Why? Because the EVM has so much development in real world applications that billions of dollars of value have been pushed through safely, right? I should add, from point A to point B, right? From sender to receiver, that it would benefit from, because there's already battle tested smart contracts. Yes, Solidity is a pain in the ass, like very certified 10 out of 10, pain in the ass, but it only does certain things. And when you get those smart contracts to do what you want them to do, it's like the US railway system, right? You got these rails to run all this massive freight over. And that's why we're seeing so much massive TVL run over these rails, these EVM rails. And again, I'm not some ETH maxi. I fucking hate that I have to use it. It's a huge pain in the ass, but today it's the main event. It's where the game is being played. So yeah, like I've got a bit of an issue here with like the Stockholm syndrome of EVM, right? Like realistically, I don't love this shit, but it does work. It is production ready, and there are means to scale it through sidechains. And even Cardano admitted it by having an EVM sidechain.
Mm-hmm. The one other point that you guys were talking about in terms of venture capitalists, and I don't remember exactly what my original point was, but I did want to put some things into perspective, because I've worked with venture capitalists in the past, and I know how they think. I know many. I'm sure we probably all do. And their whole model is basically go into 35 different projects and expect, 3 to 5 of them to perform well enough to outweigh the losses of the rest. Right. And they basically just throw shit everywhere and hope stuff sticks. Well, are we seeing that on the Cardano blockchain? And if we're not seeing that in mass, why? And, Charles would say it's because Cardano lacks the Ponzonomics, but that's not stopping somebody else from launching a native asset on Cardano that does something entirely different, that has their own complete, differentiated tokenomics that could, attract venture capitalists. But Cardano just doesn't seem like the blockchain that is ultimately attracting these VCs right now, because it's all still new. It's so new. What we're seeing right now are a lot of passionate people developing applications that they want to see come to fruition, utilizing the tech available on Cardano. but it's still new. We just got smart contracts like what, a year, 2 years ago. Like I can't even keep track of time at this point. I feel like since 2017, everything's run together like one big long dream.
I know, it's so crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
We're almost in 2025. I'm turning 40. I almost said 26. 46 in a matter of days.
It's so
and it's
crazy.
like I look back on when I first started my channel and everything that was going on, and it's like it's night and day. And we've seen these generations of blockchains transform so many industries already within our own sphere. But what we're not seeing a lot of are these real world use cases that are really being disrupted anymore. Like a lot of it was about finance, but I don't think real world use case is going to be about finance in the future. I think it's going to be about identification. I think it's going to be.
I don't know, man.
Counterfeit.
I disagree. I think the WEF agenda is to have blockchain be about identification. And I think right now the real world use case is finance, precisely because the IRS, the CRA up in Canada, and all of the related agencies across the pond, they're very interested in knowing how much we own. And they're even more interested in knowing how to pinpoint with accuracy who owns what exactly, and that would be facilitated by digital ID. Whereas the example from before, like the zero knowledge proof of like, well, I'll just wave this thing and you'll be able to see my age. Well, my big question is that a biometric thing, or is it something on your phone where, like we've been able to enjoy in other blockchains, I can swap out addresses and I can borrow NFTs from other people. I can have something sent to me. Now I've got the digital equivalent of a fake ID. I know it sounds weird, but I still like I like living in a world where we've got little shades of gray. Frankly, absolutely, I like that area.
I agree with you, man. But that's not really what I mean by financial use cases. That to me is a government controlled use case, right? The finance controlled by the government is not necessarily something I consider like an open source use case for the world to benefit. So I that goes without saying to me. The thing of it is that we all seem to think that that's all going to be built on Ethereum or Solana or Cardano, and it's not. That shit is going to be developed in its own internal, like private secret. Like we're not going to know what the hell that shit is. We're just going to be.
It's going to be the graphene blockchain, or it's going to be SUI. It's literally going to be SUI from the former Facebook team that sells out to the U.S. government for sure.
Oh my gosh! Right. Guaranteed. So reining this back in. This question right here on the screen. Are you kidding me? Cardano has the most development in the entire cryptocurrency space. Mm-hmm. Is that is not even close to being true, is it, Seth? I mean,
well, here's the thing. When you talk to the ICP people, they will swear till they're blue in the face that Internet Computer Protocol actually has the greatest number of developers and development. I don't know if I believe that claim from ICP, and I don't know if I totally believe it. No offense, Crow. I don't know if I totally believe it with Cardano either.
Yeah, right? I don't think it's even close.
I only have my doubts because I want to see what gets delivered. I don't care about the total number of commits. I don't care about the total number of code changes. I don't care about the sort of like the entry level testnet tooling. I want to see Cardano have its equivalent of Open Zeppelin off the shelf smart contracts that any fucking pleb like the three of us can go hit copy paste on, change a couple of values, and launch our own shit without a developer.
Can't you do that right now with Marlowe's Playground?
You're the expert. Is that what you do? Is it the same as Open Zeppelin?
It's like a fucking WYSIWYG smart contract editor. It's Marlowe's Playground.
I love that you actually know.
I'm not a developer though. I've never used it. I just know it exists.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up to see how it compares. Open Zeppelin is really just a collection of smart contracts that works with EVM. I love that there are people who are concerned about the fact that there's more capital in other markets, as though that's the same as more DApps, meaning better. That's not what I'm getting at. And I want to see Cardano have its best day. Look, much like how we've been talking about the upcoming Karate Combat fight, right, Crow? You and Moon Daddy, right? Ostensibly, this is going to be Karate Combat 44. Just like how everyone's talking about that, nobody would want to see one of you two go to that fight, that exhibition fight, out of shape. It would suck. It would suck for the other fighter, right? I don't want to see Cardano be on uneven footing either. I don't want to see it have its worst day compared to, whatever other blockchain's best day. That's why I want to know, where are the resources? Where are the off-the-shelf scripts?
I don't feel like I'm being cornered at all. I'm like, I'm good. And here's the thing. I can get a little passionate, a little heated, but it doesn't mean shit. Like, I love both of you guys. Like,
I love it.
And I don't feel attacked. You can say whatever the hell you want about Cardano. I'm getting rich as fuck regardless. So,
hey, I'm buying up some Cardano, baby. I'm DCA. I've been DCAing into it a little bit.
Hey, dude, and that was my first comment. Is that with advocates like you, Crow? I think anybody watching would be foolish not to at least get a little exposure, man. Like,
right,
knowing that you're right, like that you're holding it down for Cardano, like at bare minimum to get the speculative exposure. Like, yeah, why not?
Yeah, and I mean, what if what Charles is talking about actually comes to pass?
oh, I think it will. And it may not happen as smooth sailing as I'm sure everyone would love to expect. Nothing ever does. But, you know, we've got plenty of time. And that's the thing. I'm not worried about, you know, at this point, I am more concerned with the other blockchains, Ethereum, and some of these guys looking at what Cardano's done and then try to like say, oh, look what they're doing. Oh, that might actually be a better idea than what we've been doing this whole time. We should adopt that and make it our own and, you know, come up with our own name for it. Right. But the reality is that they haven't been designing all of this stuff, planning it out with all of this peer-reviewed research and just everything that they've been doing to make sure that it's all done perfectly or as close to perfectly without it actually being used in the real world. As Cardano has and IOHK, and it's just like, so anything anybody tries to do at this point to catch up to Cardano is always going to be exactly that, them trying to play catch up, because while they're getting closer to catching up to where Cardano was a year ago or 2 years ago, Cardano's already going to be releasing their next phase and whatever the hell else they got planned.
2 years ago, it didn't have smart contracts.
And you said this earlier.
But you know what? They fucking work now, don't they?
Okay, I want to make sure we're looking at the same timeline.
Well,
also, if I can just throw something out. Sorry, Grady. I saw that that George made a comment that I think is the only relevant comment, and that is that you know, if Charles is 35, why does he dress like he's 65?
Because he's a fucking
the only relevant comment. Yeah,
Charles is a straight up nerd. Charles is like an alpha nerd, in my opinion. He's like,
I don't know any nerd. I know zero nerds that worship Charles as their alpha. You take that back.
Oh wait, hold on. My wife is original song. He wrote the entire drum. Oh, my wife has messaged me about her son. So yeah, every time I look at Charles, I'm just like, you know what? He's like king of the nerd people, but I'm sure he can round up a few women every now and then. And like he's got enough swag. I mean, come on, you gotta be real about it. I think so. I think you can.
It's a sympathy pickup. I'm calling it for the ladies. I mean, we got to get some pros in here to tell. I think those are sympathy pickups when he gets them. You look at that old photo of crypto. Finally, Rachel, look, you're lovely, great friend. But you see Rachel sitting on his lap. No.
What, you don't like crypto? Finally, I don't know a whole lot about her.
No, I didn't say I didn't like crypto. Finally, what I'm saying is that in that moment, Charles showed he will simp for damn near any woman that will sit on his lap.
Wouldn't you?
No.
I mean, like, well, okay, that sounded way off. I was gonna like, I think she's an attractive girl. I don't know about. I know there's a lot of drama about her at one point, but I just don't pay much attention to all that shit. I chatted with her because I know she lived in Puerto Rico, I think, for a minute. We never met or anything, but you know, and then afterwards, I know that her and Ben have a big feud or whatever. They hate each other, I guess, but I don't know. I don't keep track. But listen,
right, no, and I've got nothing against Rachel. She's cool as fuck, to be honest. She's
yeah. I don't know anything about her, but I'm like, you know, if she wants to sit on a billionaire's lap and you know, whisper sweet nothings to one another, I have no problem with that. I'm not a hater. You know, I'll walk on. I'll pat Charles on the back. I'll send him over a drink and go about my business.
You just said over 2 drinks, but which one has the roofie, or do they both? Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, sorry, man. You know me. I get out of pocket if we stream for longer than an hour. But
yeah. So Cosmos came after Cardano. We also have Avalanche that came way after Cardano. And then you look at all the different things it's doing. So in my experience of actually getting into the blockchains and using them, okay, Cosmos, Avalanche, I mean, even several others like Polygon. Polygon's had its problems for sure.
Yeah, but well, but here's the thing though, you don't see Sandeep or anybody from Polygon talking about Cardano at all. It's like that Mad Men quote, I don't think about you at all. They don't have to. They've got all of the all of the deals in place there. So that's kind of what I'm curious about with Cardano, like being able to move from stuff that looks like it's feel good, like really solid. It's narrative.
Is it true that Crow is hiding heels in his pants? What is all this stuff about fucking heels? I haven't even seen Moon Daddy's video yet, and I know there's something about fucking high heels going on. What is this? I'm seeing these comments everywhere now. Oh. Sorry, Seth. I'm just
no, it's all right.
Seeing this. I don't know what the joke is or what's happening.
Yeah, that happened. That happened randomly on my show, I think, when we had Moon Daddy come on, who, by the way, said Cardano is a dead chain. What do you got to say about that, Moon Daddy? Saying Cardano's a joke?
Stay broke, motherfucker. I don't know.
Oh, we got
I'm kidding.
Somebody saying,
I'm playing. No, I mean, listen.
Yeah.
People can think whatever they want about Cardano. You know, I'm always right sometimes. I just know what I know based off of what I've been following for years. And so far, they haven't let me down. And, you know, listen, a lot of people think that like Charles and I are best friends and all this other shit. Man, that motherfucker leaves me on red more than a Tampa fucking college girl. Like he doesn't really give a shit. Like, and it's like, and I don't really fault him, but it's like, you know, there's this idea that Charles and I are like swapping stories and like, you know, back in the day, he doesn't give a shit. I send him stuff all the time.
Why the heck Charles, why hasn't he come on your show? Why don't I ever see you and Charles
a few times? But here's the thing. When Charles was coming on my show all the time and like always down, I was the biggest Cardano guy. Right. Then we had the next bull cycle and I was in Puerto Rico not doing shit. I had vertigo. I couldn't get out of bed for 2 months. It was the biggest nightmare like probably ever. And I didn't grow. I didn't do anything. Then my channel got shut down. Then it got brought back. And it's just like everything got so fucked up. I'm still stuck at like 140 something thousand subs. I'm not growing. And it doesn't matter what I put out there. And I'm not necessarily saying that's like the only reason, you know, but it's just like anymore, you know, I just think Charles has better shit to do with his alpha brain. I don't know. I'm not particularly pressed. Like I said, the same way, you know, Charles is doing his thing and whatever. I'm doing well off of it. I'm doing well in every conceivable way. Charles doesn't owe me shit. Nobody owes me shit. If Moon Daddy says, it's a ghost chain, personally, I think he's full of shit. He just probably doesn't really know what Cardano is.
I've got a block explorer pulled up right now. We can put it on screen. I've got a block explorer pulled up right now.
Oh, okay.
Block 1 transaction, 3 transactions, 5 transactions.
Okay. Now pull up the website where you can see the actual contents of each of those transactions.
No problem. There's the block. Clicking through the Explorer. Confirmations, 8. A little over 1 kilobyte of throughput. And it was a transfer of the native asset. And not only that, it was a transfer of the native asset from a split transaction that's wash traded from 1 and change address back because UTXOs do that. So, yeah. So from address to the same address. Definitely not dead.
Well, it's not a dead. Of course, it's not a dead. But there's actually a much cooler website. I can't remember the damn URL off the top of my head right now.
I just went with the main one because Cardano. I mean, Cardano.org should be able to have something pretty good.
Yeah, but there's another one. Damn it, I can't remember. I showed it on my channel. I need to have it in my bookmark. But it basically just shows all the blocks as they drop, and then it shows you all of the contents inside each block, and then you can click them and explore them and do all kinds of shit with it, and it's basically in real time. And it's like no, that's not it.
They don't. Yeah, they don't have Cardano yet. They've got Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Monero only. Oh, okay. Bitcoin Cash now. And they added Litecoin and Arbitrum.
And Arbitrum.
That's cute. Arbitrum. It's something kind of like that, but it's not with the South Park characters in it or whatever that is.
These make it so interesting, though, because every single one of these characters is a real transaction.
No,
and that links direct to Etherscan. Yeah, and then they also show all of the different, specifically break down to all the different services like Curve, Sushi, Uniswap, stuff that's just dedicated out of MetaMask, 0x, stuff that's coming from Tether or Circle Group for USDC, so that you can kind of distinguish when stuff is running through their smart contracts. And they even show you how many transactions, like these 75,000, that are below the current gas threshold line. So it shows you how many people are just waiting for their shot at low fees and then getting it and getting included. And then lets you add or subtract some of the other data that might be important to you. So yeah, like base fee, whatever else. But
that's really cool.
Yeah, it's a decent, like, this is great for noobs, honestly. Like, for people who are more advanced at looking at block explorers, like, if you got a better site for Cardano, I want to check it out. But I mean, talk to these people. Try to get them included. If they've got Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin here, they can definitely include Cardano. But I think you probably need the community to go and make some noise.
That's a whole other side to so much of this shit in terms of the narrative, man, because I feel like Cardano is snubbed intentionally by anybody that deals with other blockchains, and I still have not figured out exactly why.
Yeah, I don't know. I really want to see a block explorer that shows the full thing. Definitely on the base block explorer, though. I was surprised to see any blocks that had literally only one transaction in them. If we go to like any competitor, and I'm not going to say that Ethereum is a competitor to Cardano, because frankly it's not, but
Not
I
anymore.
think that something that is Polygon. I think Polygon is meant to be a scaling competitor, because it's not strictly speaking Ethereum. You have to bridge into it, but it is Ethereum compatible, and you don't have a single block that has so few transactions in it ever. It's just, at least not at this point, because they're fully in production. They're adding ZK EVM, so for zero knowledge scaling,
Right?
It's not for privacy necessarily. And while they have had they've had accusations of slowdowns. That was like the CryptoKitties moment when they had the Sunflower Farm slow down their chain. Cardano is going to have this too eventually, right? When there are people doing play to earn, and there's some developer that's just like being a knucklehead, and they don't craft their smart contracts right. Somebody's going to do it to Cardano. It won't be Cardano's
George,
fault.
I'm going to head kick you in Vegas. He's in the chat talking mad shit. I'm going to show him what a giant leg kick feels like, and then he'll love Cardano again. I don't even know why he's saying this, because he likes Cardano. I know he does. I don't even know why he's fronting.
He just added it to his DCA portfolio this week, baby.
It might be a good time to short here soon. I mean, I've got my charges. I'm just sitting here waiting for like a dump to start before the weekend. So Crypto Grady, here's the thing. I know Seth and I have been rambling forever, but what else you got? Like, where's your head at? Because I don't think you've been convinced of anything yet, and that's a problem for me.
Right. So I want to be convinced that first of all, you can actually get in there and do things and it works. Okay. So like, for example, I always use the example. It's like, I waited for 6 months. This is about a year ago. It's been a while, but I waited for months, and it was like, I wanted my Sunday swap airdrop.
I knew you were going to say Sunday. Move on, motherfucker.
And then I also had my Gira wallet.
You got
my Gira wallet. Swap? It was like, this shit just wasn't working. When I'm sitting in here living in DeFi all day, I'm living in crypto gaming. It's like working. There's innovation happening. Trails are being blazed. You've got, like, I always use again DeFi Kingdoms because that's what I know the most. You know, you can, for the first time ever, connect two NFTs
because you are emotionally and financially affected by one particular application. Nothing else exists.
What's that now? What's that?
It seems like you have like an emotional, like financial kind of, like, you were hit by this incident with, I see, laugh it up, George. No, so you were like financially, emotionally kind of triggered by this incident with Sunday Swap, and because of that, it seems like you're stuck. You're like the dude in the 80s that still wears like Jordache jeans and the big fucking high top shoes with his hair in a ponytail and a ball cap from the 80s, because that was the era he got the most women, right? and it's just like, I'm not changing because this is where I was the most emotionally affected.
Well, that's what I'm seeing. Because I'm actually doing all kinds of shit in Cosmos, all kinds of shit in.
I like Cosmos, by the way. I've always thought Cosmos was pretty cool.
Yeah. I've been a huge fan of Cosmos for a long time, and I was a huge fan of Cardano. But I'm doing stuff, I hate doing anything in Ethereum, but
What's
I
Cardano?
was all over in
Is that the
Polygon. I was
Italian
all over the
sidechain?
place, and all these different, all these sites, all these apps doing all kinds of different things. And then I can't do jack. I can't even connect the freaking DEX to my Cardano wallet. It just wasn't working.
What wallet are you using?
Slow. It's like, come on. What
wallet are you using for these connections?
Okay, so I had the Yuri wallet. I had the Gero wallet,
and I told everybody that was shit. You can't even mint NFTs with that wallet.
And it's supposed to be like the best wallet. I mean, that's even the point. So then the third-party devs and all the developers developing on Cardano, they're like, I don't think it's the most developed. Like when he says VC money, that means development on the blockchain. That means there's money being put into the, like Avalanche has all this VC money developing games on their subnets, for as an example, or Cosmos, or the most by far is Ethereum. People are developing things and actually that work, and you can do things with Cardano. That just hasn't been my experience. And so I get encouraged.
And that's fair, but you also have to understand that like the Yoroi wallet, in my opinion, was one of the worst ones. So you just kind of got shit out of luck there. And I know that was Emergo's big baby for a minute, and I maybe still is. But I always pushed NAMI for NFTs, or NAMI for just about anything if you're playing around on the internet. Eternal is a good wallet, especially if you're into the stats of everything because of the information that it presents. And I use Daedalus for storage. Like I put my shit in Daedalus in a computer that I do nothing with, and it's off somewhere. Like because and like anytime I want to like check on my Daedalus shit, I have to go through I have to drive. We'll just say this. I have to go through a whole bunch of shit and then basically start it up and let it sit for like a fucking day to sync, because you're downloading the entire Cardano network on you're updating the entire thing. So everybody would complain about, oh, Daedalus is so slow. You're downloading the entire blockchain onto your computer, basically. Yeah, right. It's not a little browser wallet like a MetaMask. That's what NAMI is, and that's what like Lace. Lace is pretty. I think Lace is the prettiest wallet, but I like that the least of the three. But yeah, man, and I honestly think, and that's one of the reasons why now NAMI wallet has been brought in as an actual product of IOHK, because it's definitely the best of them all, in my opinion. So even when I launched my Murder of Crows NFTs, people would always have a million problems trying to mint them with the Yoroi wallet. So I had to put it up on the website. Don't use Yoroi wallet. Click this link and get NAMI wallet. This is the only one that works.
Wallet, it was some other wallet that I had like on my computer like years ago, I remember, and then that was a disaster.
Yeah, see, I can say even as somebody who's not super into the Cardano ecosystem, like I would recommend NAMI only because it has hardware wallet signing support. Like that was the only one that I ever dared touch because it had support for Ledger. So I knew that I could run it in browser, but not have a hot wallet.
Okay. Yeah. So I got to the point where I just got so frustrated waiting. And so I haven't even hardly looked at it for close to a year now.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I want to know and hear, okay, things are actually happening because it's been around so long. Then I see projects like Avalanche popping up. Okay. And they've been in development for less than half the time I think Cardano has. And they're like miles ahead on what you can actually do with in their whole ecosystem with their subnets and how that works. And then
is that actually true, or is that your perception because they offer things that you're more interested in right now?
I live inside of them. I'm actually in there doing stuff. Like with the DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem, there's over 3 million transactions per day on the blockchain because we're playing the game or we're doing things. The DEX, it's a DEX. It's several things. With the NFT.
I hear what you're saying, but and I get that some other blockchains are more relevant to the personal interests that you have now, right? So okay, and that's fair.
Yeah.
So, but when I'm talking about Cardano and what Cardano's doing, Cardano to me isn't just about they've got a DeFi Kingdoms clone that I really like, and then like a couple NFT collections that I'm partial to, right? To me, Cardano is an actual framework for a lot of shit the world over. And that is what I see being built. It's not necessarily like I like Cardano because it's the home to my favorite singular application, right? And so I see the potential for all upcoming and future applications that it will support that I feel are going to be much more relevant to the world than these niche products that everybody's launching, because they're simple, they're acceptable, and all they have to do is pump a bunch of marketing money to get them in a competitive space with everything else that's currently relevant. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. That makes sense.
And it's like, I don't fault you for you know,
right.
if it's like, dude, you go to whatever movie theater's playing the shit you want to see today.
Right.
I get that.
And when you go, you want it to work.
I appreciate the fact that the Cardano's building a huge fucking multiplex, and you're going to be able to watch whatever you want, whenever you want, when the time comes. That's at least my outlook on it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm curious. Sorry for the interruption here, guys. I need to know definitively, what is the correct pronunciation? Is it Cardano or is it Cardano?
Neither.
Cardano.
It's not Cardino either. It's Cardano.
Cardano.
Yeah.
Cardonia. All right, got it.
That Cardonia is, I think, a game or something.
Cardonia will put it on you.
Yeah. So Crow, I used to say all the time, like, people that believe in Cardano, people that believe in Cardano.
Say it right, Cardano.
Living
tomato. It doesn't matter at this point.
They're not actually doing things inside of any apps or applications or doing stuff, because if they were, they would know that it's just not working. That's not true.
Work. Wait until Cornucopius launches, and then we'll revisit that statement.
Okay, and I've heard about this. Blockchain billionaires, when I was on with them, they're all talking about.
Dude, Cornucopius is going to fucking rock shit. I've been in there. I have a client. I can log in right now and go run around. I mean, dude, Cornucopius is going to be unlike anything you've seen on the blockchain to date. I'm telling you that now.
Is that a game, Cornucopius?
Yes, it's a metaverse game. It's a real 3D. It's basically a AAA quality MMO with real like assets on the blockchain that everybody owns, and there's a market for it, and there's going to be so much shit. And these custom domes, I'm telling you, man, like as we get closer to the halving, I am definitely going to be doing a lot of content from within all the land that I own, because I bought a bunch of shit on the secondary market, because every time they had a land sell, everything was gone in 5 minutes. And so I had to go and get what I wanted off of the secondary market. And I got some. I'm going to have my own custom dome. I'm going to be doing a lot of shit with my NFTs and my dome. And I'm telling you, dude, like if you're not familiar with it, you're going to have a fucking field day. Just go to their wiki and read and look and I'm sure I could probably connect you. They'll give you access. I'm pretty sure you might be able to get public access for like the beta testing and things. Their racing game works now. The racing side of it is done. You can basically race your NFT cars and bikes and shit in their crazy ass track. I mean, and it's insane. And this is all just preliminary bullshit just to keep everyone occupied while they're building like all of the real deal shit.
Interesting.
You've never seen anything like it, dude. And I own Sandbox. I have land on Sandbox. I know they're like Decentraland and all that. That's all cool. But when Cornucopius is ready to start kicking shit off, man, it's going to blow everything out of the water.
So is what Bobby's saying here, is this true, Seth?
There are no apps on Avalanche either. You can't run apps on these chains. They don't handle compute. They can't store data and need oracles. Yeah, that's true. We call them DApps out of convenience, but it's in the same way that, like, frankly, if you want to get granular and you want to get all anal retentive about it, you don't actually hold coins either. In fact, you don't even hold your own wallet. What you hold is a seed phrase that allows you to derive key pairs, and those key pairs allow you to sign transactions, and those transactions allow you to make changes on the chain. If we want to get really, really uptight about it, that's true. Most of what we say is not accurate.
Okay, so what Bobby trying to say here, Crow, is what he's trying to say is that it's different on Cardano.
No, not technically. No, I mean, pretty much everything out there, like you can mint stuff to a blockchain, but what this guy's basically saying is that no, there aren't any applications that are physically being stored and ran in a blockchain itself. It's basically, like if it's no different than if you were to, I mean, any application, whether it's like an iPhone app or otherwise, it's like he's basically trying to say, yeah, they use the cloud and like it's all stored elsewhere, but you're piping into it and storing the data from them on the various blockchains.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, that said, I mean,
like he's trying to make a
DApp,
point that, like with Cardano, it's different.
No,
or am I wrong, Bobby?
No, he's accurate. His statement is accurate across most blockchains,
Okay,
and that's what makes the more recent trend of ordinal inscriptions and putting writing all of the data by using something like recursive ordinal inscriptions. Like that's why it's such a unique thing. Is that we haven't the way people used to think that DApps ran is how DApps would run if we had recursive ordinal inscriptions into the blockchain. Cardano is capable of doing this. I don't know what kind of block size it supports or what it would take for it to like use this kind of tech. But now there's ETH-scriptions. There's a group that's trying to take ETH-scriptions and port that over to Polygon and Avalanche. There's a bunch of stuff that in blockchain where we use it out of convenience because it's a really good marketing term and it makes our these conversations, it decreases the friction. But no, strictly speaking, DApps don't run 100% on chain.
Okay,
not at all. They can't.
Yeah, I just don't understand why he's making this point, Bobby.
Like on Cardano, Cardano uses Plutus to basically pull off-chain data into Cardano or into
Plutus is like an oracle. Plutus is an oracle like Chainlink.
Yeah, like Chainlink.
Okay.
Yeah,
got you. I'm missing his point. Sorry, I thought it was something. Okay. Anyways, so. All right, we're going long here, way long. So last thing, we've had Moon Daddy in the chat talking a little shit in there. Solid, baby. We're fighting. I'm fighting. Crow's fighting, baby. We also got Rodney. Rodney's fighting. Okay, our boy Rodney, and he's got a big CRU Plus video coming on Sunday, and he's talking apparently some mega shit. All right, we're gonna hear also on Sunday who he's fighting. I'm pumped to see this fight with Crow.
Do we all
Moon
know?
Daddy.
I think I know who that. I think I know that fight. Do I not?
You might, but I from what I understand, this is not public knowledge. It's not common knowledge, and everyone's being asked to keep it that way.
And they like really don't like each other, if I understand.
This should be fun.
It's like a real grudge. Like these guys are really going to try and mess each other up.
And Rodney is a badass looking fighter. Have you seen his videos, Crow?
No, I don't know anything about this dude.
Really?
But I know his opponent has a legit military combatives background as well.
Right. I think the difference is that his opponent is out of practice for about 12 years, and Rodney, he's looking clean on the bag right now. He's looking real clean.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out then.
Oh, baby.
I don't know anything about the guy.
Oh man, yeah, he looks like he's like a legit fighter. He's already got I think he's already been fighting. And
and I said the bag. His training video more recently was with his trainer using targets, right? So not just focus myths. No, not just focus myths. He's got the full kick targets out, and he's doubling. You know when they'll use the kick targets for myths.
So when you thing in the air the one day, you know what you're talking about? I've never used those before.
That's because it's TKD. You wouldn't, man. It's fun, but yeah,
Instead for the tap kicks, like a pop, pop, pop,
pretty much.
Real quick. A little tip tappy shit. Okay.
Yeah,
that's
like
cool.
I said,
I like to feel something break when I kick it. I don't really want to just look pretty.
Man. So Crow, I pulled my calf yesterday. Damn it.
Oh shit.
I'm so pissed. So I'm focused mostly on cardio right now anyways, but
that's really all you can do with a few months. Like you just try to make sure you can. I mean, if you're too gassed out to throw a fucking normal, punch, it doesn't really matter what you really know.
I know, right? So, and I'm coming off being in the worst shape of my life by far, and it's been a monster getting my cardio. Because here's how I'm gonna roll. It's just I don't roll any other way. The Hulk's gonna come out. I'm not gonna breathe, and I'm just gonna pound the shit out of who I'm fighting, which you'll find out soon.
That sounds hot.
And I'm gonna be gassed as hell unless I'm in tip-top shape. So,
well, I told Moon Daddy today. I said because my trainer's wanting to come. So my trainer just trained a friend of mine who he just fought in the UFC recently, and because we're all from Cincinnati, and he did well. He won his fight with stand up, which is good. And I have a boxing trainer, and I'm bringing him down from Cincinnati, and we're going to get started here soon because we thought we had a bunch of months. And I'm like, oh, no, this fight's in February. It's not going to be March.
It's
And
not. Are we sure about that? I want
yeah,
March.
I think we're pretty sure it's going to be February, brother. So yeah, you got a month less than you thought you did. And so and he's like, man, I'm not even sure what fight training is supposed to be like. And I said, well, it's you vomiting twice a day for 6 to 8 weeks.
Yep.
And then pretending like the injury you suffered during that fucking training is all good and you're ready to go. And I said, that is your typical fight training camp. And he's like, oh shit.
I threw up twice. Yes, last week I threw up twice. I overtrained, pushed my body too far. I was taking it easy this week, and I still pulled my calf. It's like, oh.
yeah. I'm definitely not. And I told him, I'm like, I'm not overtraining. Like at this age, with just a little time, like there's no way I could do, everything in like a few months and be ready for like the UFC. Like it's just not happening. And I'm telling him that because I know he's in probably a worse situation than I am. I at least have experience, so I'm trying to be very fair with him. Like, here's the thing: whatever happens on fight night happens. But I like the guy, and like, it's like, how do you promote a fight where you really are? That's it. He found it. UTXO.org. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. It doesn't have South Park, but it's pretty cool.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah, I'm bookmarking this.
Yeah. And then you can see within, like, it's saying 2.1 TPS, but if you actually look at the contents of each block, you can see you've got a total you got 400 transfers within that one, block section or whatever. So
interesting.
I didn't know what I was doing there. I flushed all the other blocks.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on right here in Cardano right now.
Hey, there it is, man.
Token.
There it is, baby.
Nice.
Huh. All right. We're going to continue this Cardano talk. And I'm going to keep DCAing into Cardano. Make no mistake about it, because I don't want to, if it turns out being real and all these grandiose visions of unbanking the unbanked and basically building a whole nother galaxy in a far, far distant galaxy, far, far away, creating a whole new planet Earth that Charles Hoskinson's going to rocket us off to, to a whole new, better place, and all these things. I want to be sure I have a bag of Cardano for sure, because you never know. I want to kind of like knock out Charles Hoskinson a little bit for not giving you more love, Crow.
Well, I'm taking a picture to show my wife because she tried to call me and I have to show her why I ignored her ass. She's in Cincinnati now, but she's not going to be for long, and she'll climb me like a tree and cut my throat. So I have to let her know I'm not out at any bars, honey. I'm sitting here nerding out with some internet web friends. It's all good. No, she doesn't really give a shit, but
I love it.
I like the way you described that. I envisioned a monkey climbing up a tree to chop off coconuts. That her like climbing up you to get to the throat. Yeah.
My wife is a straight ninja. She's like, that's fun, love. Yes. No, like I swear to God, my wife, she's only ever hit me once, but and it was before we were married. She hit me harder than any man has ever hit me, and I'm not fucking exaggerating. Like, I'm not kidding. And I even asked her later, because we were both drunk and I was being stupid. She did something stupid, and I'm like calling her my ex's name because I knew it would piss her off. And man, she gave me this hook. Right. And I was like, what the fuck? And I'm like, how the hell did you reach me? She's like, because you were in my face yelling at me. I was like, lesson learned, midget. I'm never doing that again.
Oh, baby. All right. So what are you going to do to our man, RC Moon Daddy?
What am I going to do to him?
Yeah. Are you going to knock some teeth out?
No, I promised him I wouldn't.
Kidding. He did too.
Yeah.
What if you? Okay, everyone says Mike Tyson, right? Everyone's got a plan till they get punched in the face. What is your plan after you get punched in the face? It could happen, man. What if you eat a straight punch?
That's a tough one, man. Because here. Okay, so I'm gonna be real with you. I do have like a couple marbles loose. So here's okay. Well, so. I mean, I was bullied, man, for years when I was a kid, because I was a big ass soft kid, right? I'm still a big ass soft guy. I mean, and it's like, I do wear my emotions on my sleeve, but I'm not afraid to cry. I'm not afraid to show my emotions to anybody. If you got something to say, just let's hear it. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And like,
That's why we love you.
And I do have a big heart. But you, Seth, you've met my wife. Like, we're both very much the same. We're both very much like, we will do anything for you. And we're both brutally honest. We're both just kind of call it as we see it.
Yep.
We mean no harm to anyone.
Yep.
But if you fuck with us,
right,
you might disappear. And
right.
and
right.
Right. It's just because it's like you're that much more offended when somebody wrongs you, right?
Right.
It's like, you know, you didn't do anything to ask for it. You definitely don't deserve it, and you're not going to let that shit fly.
That's right.
And it's just like, that's because we both had rough childhoods, man. Like, we both kind of came up different, and like, that's why we click. She's the yin to my yang. We're like like home team shit, and it's like, the thing of it is like, we've both been through so much that anytime I'm in a situation where I feel in danger, it's like there are a couple switches that go off that say, if it's you or me, I'm going home.
Right.
You know?
That's right.
And so
there's a demon inside of me, and I know how to tap right into it. I get it. Okay, go, Seth.
Oh, I know. Just if the phrase "do no harm but take no shit" were a married couple, it would be Crow and Kristen. Yeah, for sure. I think that's my read on you guys as well. But
it's crazy how much how alike we are. Crow, an empath, hard on sleeve, honest to a fault, giving, loving, following the golden rule, looking out for the best interests of others, even over your own best interests. But if you cross the line with me, it's on.
Right.
And the red flips on. You F with me or my family, or you are out with malicious intent, hurting other people too. Okay. It's
what's funny, Kristen's far more vicious than I am. Like, she's way more vicious. When she sees red, like, I had to knock out her son's dad like a few years back. He's a bodybuilder, and he came at me in the street with a ball bat, and I laid him out flat in the street, and then I helped his ass up. If that would have been Kristen, she would have grabbed the bat and beat the shit out of him with it. Like, are you waking up, motherfucker? You're not waking up yet. I'm not done with you. Like, that's how Kristen is. And it's like, I will knock you out, but feel bad about it. Like, let's talk about this now. Like, you know, because I don't want to do that again, you dumbass. You know, Kristen doesn't. She sees red and she's all over it.
Yeah.
So
game over.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, I think about this fight with Moon Daddy and everything, and it's just like, you know, I have every intention of going in there and winning. I'm sure he does too, but it's like I want to win without hurting him. And I want to win in a way that's like fun and entertaining. And I don't know what his game plan is. I think, you know, I figure I'm going to let this kind of go where he's comfortable. I'm comfortable anywhere, but it's like, you know, the outcome or how it plays out is ultimately going to depend on how froggy he feels that day, I guess. I don't know. Like, you know, it's like, we can handle this like gentlemen, or we can get into some gangster shit. Isn't that what they said? Like,
that is so well said. That I don't think he's wanting to go gangster mode on you.
No, I don't think so either. And neither of us do. I mean, listen, we're both 46. What the fuck are we really capable of? Like, listen, I'm dangerous for like a minute. But then after that, it's like, you know, can we talk about this? Because, you know, you're not dead yet, and I'm real tired. So,
you know, it was going to be 3 2-minute rounds, and then they changed it. They changed it on us, Crow. They went.
What is it?
3 3-minute rounds.
Oh, those sons of bitches.
I know.
Yeah, short. I thought a short round was always supposed to be 2 minutes.
I wanted the 3 2-minute rounds because
that would make a lot more sense. But I wonder why maybe they just expect a lot more to be over in the first 3 minutes than spilling into other rounds.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a prediction here. Because they're 3 3-minute rounds. We're gonna get at least one of the exhibition fights where it's ended through stoppage in the first round. Just because someone gets so tired, they drop their block. They drop their guard.
Oh, yeah.
Legit. Someone's going to get so tired, they make a dumb mistake first round.
Right. That's why I'm so concerned about my cardio. It's all cardio. Fine. Yeah, I get it. I've never fought before for sport. Okay, like this.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, and I told him today, because I was chatting I like to chat with Moon Daddy when I'm taking a bath. Isn't that nice? And yeah, baby.
Kind of soothing.
And he's like, you know, I'm not sure what to expect. And I said, well, I'll tell you right now, like 2 minutes in a fight situation will feel like an hour.
Right.
And I'm like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And you'll be lucky that you don't have tunnel vision so bad that you can barely function.
Right.
So, you know, and it's just like, and I'm just trying to let him know like what to prepare, because I want it to be, you know, I feel like I do have an advantage, you know, and so, and I want it to be fair, you know, and it's like, I'm not, it'd be one thing if I were going at this like I'm gonna murder this motherfucker. Like I'm not. It's like, let's have some fun, but this is what you should expect, because it's gonna be a lot more brutal than you think it will.
Yeah.
Because everybody's been in a bar fight, right? Everybody's had some asshole come up to them, or you were the instigator or whatever. You've been in a bar fight and it's all instantaneous. You're not thinking about it. You're just reacting. But when you're planning to fight somebody in a pit with all the lights, all the people, everything just focused in on you,
right?
Not getting knocked the fuck out, not doing something stupid, and you have all this pressure on you. I don't give a fuck who you think you are. If you've never been in that situation before, you were going to walk in as a deer in headlights, and like anything that you think right now is going to go right out that fucking window, and you're going to be the haymaker specialist of the night like everybody else that's never done it.
I love it. All these we're going to see how delusional I am, Crow. We're going to see if I'm delusional or not. Here we go.
We'll see.
It's going to be Hulk.
Some people handle the pressure better than others, you know?
Yeah. It's going to be, oh, baby.
Yeah. See, and I think here's my prediction for Grady. I think round one, Grady's going to do this. He's going to run in there and he's going to guard up. He's going to be really, really good about getting in, like right inside the pocket. He's going to go to work the way he should. And then exactly 1 minute later, they're going to clinch, and when he comes back out, you're going to hear this giant him finally breathing again. and then he's going to get
solar plexus in the clinch. It's just he just ran out of breath.
Exactly. And then for the next minute, he's going to go in there, and like you said, he's going to be the haymaker machine windmill factory, and something's going to hit, and his opponent's just going to be like, fuck. They're going to say that really loud, by the way, on the way down. Fuck. And then it's going to be over. Round one.
I love it.
Round one KO. That's my motto.
The only thing you left out there is that I'm going to be in the pocket. I'm going to take some punches in the face to get more in the pocket, right? And I'm going to punish his fist with my face. That's what we're going to do. And then I'm going to knock his ass out. That's how this is going to work.
Do you know what I would love? I would love to see in that first minute while he's doing that, while he's working his way in, to like, instead of like punishing his fist with your face, actually headbutt his hands. Because in the rule set, you can't headbutt, you can't throw elbows, but you can't. There's nothing about stopping a fist with your forehead.
His fist is going to be punished with my head,
or block with an elbow. When you talked up like that, hit that elbow a couple times and see how your fucking hands feel.
All right. With our little 4-ounce gloves. We're using the 4-ounce gloves too.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And they've been messaging me all day today because they're custom making all my shit.
Oh, really?
My gloves, everything, head to toe, it's all being custom made because there's just, it's how it is with my eyes. Like dressing an ogre is fun, isn't it? And they're like, oh yeah, this is fucking great. Thanks a lot, Crow. Appreciate it.
This is amazing, dude. You're gonna seriously? Oh my gosh! Are you gonna take this stuff and then like digitize it and burn the original gi and like mint it as an NFT or something? This is, dude. It's a one of one. It's a karate.com gi.
Yeah,
right.
It will be
crypto crow karate combat one of ones.
It might even have a lot of NFL player blood all over it. I mean, it might be worth even more.
Yeah. So Moon Daddy's 6'4". Are you actually 7 feet? I'm
actually 7 feet
without,
as long as I'm wearing really nice heels.
So like with shoes on, you're like 7'1"?
You know, if I'm real honest about it, the last time I measured 7 foot exactly, I was probably in my early 30s. So I could be a little bit shorter now. I mean, I have to assume I've maybe shrunk an inch or so. So like with shoes, I'm probably 7 foot even now.
Okay. Yeah, and we're taking.
I was measured, dude. I used to get free beers all the time because I've never been lanky. So because I have kind of a bigger build, I don't look as tall as I actually am. Because typically, you see somebody that's 7 foot, they look like a skinny twig or a tree, and they look really fucking tall because they're so abnormal overall.
Yeah, they look like Herman Munster with a giant long ass face and weird like.
a lot of them
like
are
two with your
fan
hands.
syndrome, which my whole family had to be tested for Marfans. So it's just where your fingers are, they all look like, you know, Celine Dion fingers and shit. And it's like everything is just stretched, you know, like Gumby. So yeah, like, yeah, no, I really am 7 foot one way or another.
Wow. So yes, we are taking bets. We just did a video on this the other day with Moon Daddy and Seth. Okay. We went over it, how to use the app. You can use it through MetaMask. It's Ethereum based token, the karate token. You bet. When you bet, you can't lose. So if you lose the bet, you get your karate token back. But if you win, you almost double that karate token. Okay. So you can't lose. That's how it's legal.
I don't know what
to be doing that.
I don't know what the payout is right now. We looked at the website too, and as it is right now, somebody informed us that 48 hours before the actual event, then they'll adjust the ratios for winnings. Yes. Until that point, they'll tell you got a 50-50 chance either way.
We wouldn't be up on the app now, would we?
No. I'm talking about for KC 43 in Las Vegas, December.
Okay, yeah.
And so here's the deal: there's not a ton of liquidity when buying the karate token. So I've been buying little bits at a time because we saw, like, we just tested 5 ETH purchase of karate token, which is a lot. Okay, that's like 10 grand. Okay, worth of karate token. That impacted the price on the Uniswap DEX by 15%. Okay.
Oh shit.
And so I've been buying like $100 here, $100 worth there, because I'm broke as a joke, baby, living in my mom's basement. Okay.
Betting in only up, it's like staking it almost. You know, every fight show, you're basically getting your reward for staking these tokens on your app.
Essentially.
So, yeah. Nobody's selling them because they can turn them into more.
Yeah, you get them instantly. So I'm shocked, Seth, actually, that it hasn't been pumping more, because it's only a $6 million market cap, as we saw, or less than $6 million market cap buying the karate token. You can
but
get
fully
it on
diluted,
KuCoin too. But
no, absolutely, fully diluted value of that market cap, though. If they had every single one of the tokens emitted right now, it would be like almost 70 or 80 million. So the 6 million that's in the market right now, they mint new tokens on a regular schedule. So that's part of why you don't get any access to tokens right now, and why some of them haven't been released from the main token supply yet. So this is an onboarding mechanism, and I don't know what it's going to take, say 3 years from now or 5 years from now, for Karate Combat to kind of keep the bets interesting as far as getting your winnings going. But yeah, for a while, this is the play. Just keep on.
I was just telling. I know a guy. I don't know if any of you guys know who he is. Kane Trujillo. He's big on. He's like almost 3 million followers on TikTok, and I think he's like 600,000 or something on Instagram. He had reached out to me like years ago, because I guess I got him and his dad into Cardano like way back in the day, and they've done really well. And so he's been a fan for a long time, and we've connected over the years. And he's just super. He does funny shit, man. Like he does these little quick skits where you have to watch him to understand him, but he's fucking hilarious. And he's out in LA. And he's coming. He fought in an influencer boxing match against some rapper. I think it was about a year or two ago. And he's a little guy, though, man. I'm pretty sure the dude like really worked him, but he did it. You know what I mean? And he's big into this stuff. And I was connecting him to the Karate Combat guys, and I told him flat out, because he's going to come to the event. I think he wants to come to the one in Dominican too. But I told him, I'm like, dude, I've been floor cage side at UFC events, and the energy and the entertainment value at a Karate Combat event really, really, really does blow that out of the water.
Really?
I was disappointed when I paid all kinds of money for these floor seats at the UFC and just sat there watching the screens the entire time. And I'm like, I'd get a better view at pay-per-view at home for $80. Like, why the fuck am I here? And but at Karate Combat, because it's so much more intimate, and it's just like their setup, their production, everything about it is so on point. I'm like, dude, Karate Combat. I mean, they're the third largest fight promotion in the country. I don't know if people realize that, but it's like, and they're going to keep growing, man. Especially now with this Pettis Henderson fight. Now they're moving up. They're saying, okay, we've got our roster of guys that we've been building, and now they're going to get to a point where they're probably after Pettis and Henderson, they might be pitting one of their up and comers against this guy. And then they start bringing in, because that's what I did as a promoter. Guys that would get cut from UFC contracts, or they come off a season of Ultimate Fighter, they'd come fight for me, and I'd put them against guys I managed who are on their way up, right? So this guy, he's trying to rebuild his record so that he can get back into a new contract at the UFC. I've got my guys. I'm just trying to get signed to begin with. And, you know, I bet we're going to start seeing some more of that. And they have a hell of a lot more resources and money and everything than I ever had. So I definitely see Karate Combat growing in significant ways over the years, for sure.
And even though, with that being said, even though the token is so unbelievably inflationary, okay, because they're just like dropping all these tokens, it's so early in the game. It's not even $6 million market. It's nothing in a bull run. The inflation.
Right.
I don't think. And so when it's option coming,
so
and also Seth. So I have to tell you, I mean, are you not seeing this? Crow has such a gift when it comes to, like, even the way he just said that. Does that not make you all want to go to this party with George and then go to the Karate Combat venue and watch the fight? When you're there, he puts his heart and soul and it's like, I'm so sold. I want to go to a Karate Combat event now. It's like, Crow, you've got this gift, man. I love it. I love it. And also, Seth, answer this question on the screen. What are the fees on 5 ETH? It's like nothing.
Oh, what the fees
like
on
$17? The fees if you buy 5 ETH worth of Karate token is like $17.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the fees are like $17, but with the price impact being 15%, you're going to pump the chart for somebody else. So unless you're ready to try to get other callers to come in and ape your trades and pump the chart even more, it's just going to get weird. Nobody here is calling for manipulation of any.
The point is
token.
Here they take no fees. The project you pointed that out the other night. No fees.
The smart contract itself. There's no selling fee. There's no dev fee. There's no dev tax of any type at all. All they want to do is get people exposure to a really great event, because what they're hoping is it'll lead you to be curious about the actual IRL event itself. And hopefully you'll actually show up to an event, or you'll talk about it, or you'll watch it faithfully. It's got nothing to do with them like earning money. I think we talked to their team about, as a fight promotion, how much it's cost the last year to get people involved in this event. Dude, a $6 million market cap, if they were trying to put some kind of developer fee or tax on it, it wouldn't make their investors whole on what this fight promotion costs to put on at all.
No. It's beautiful. Freaking awesome. So Karate Combat bullish, just on the whole platform. It's easy.
I love Karate Combat. I'm even before I was like tapped into fight, I'm like, I love this place.
Yep. If you're in MetaMask, you can even do it on your phone. It's app.karate.com. Or
look
you
at
can
easier, man.
Yes. If you're MetaMask, you can even do it on your phone, or you can actually download a Karate Combat app. You can make all the bets right there. It's beautiful. So I'm stacking that karate to bet on these next couple of fights coming up, baby. Can we bet on our own fights? Is that illegal? Or
I'm betting on all mine. I'm hell yeah.
And if you lose, so if you win the bet, doesn't 9% of the tokens go to the actual fighter as well?
I don't know about that. It might be. I've heard things about that, but
that's what they said on the last. You can go to YouTube and watch all the fights. That's what they said during the last fight.
Then I expect to have about 1 billion tokens. Okay, Crows. My murder Crows is out there flying around. I better have 1 billion karate tokens after my fight.
Yeah. But I'm gonna say what I said on our last stream, Grady. Here's the thing. Yes, you should smart. Yeah, it's a safe bet to bet on Crow, right? Definitely don't be a dummy. Make a safe bet. Put all the bajillion tokens on Crow. But smart money is gonna take the high odds that go over on Moon Daddy, because that guy, he's your long shot. So if you don't get a little exposure on Moon Daddy, you're a fucking idiot, because he's gonna give you so many multiples on your bets.
Is it gonna be like? Yeah. What do you think the odds will be for Crow to win versus Moon Daddy to win?
It's not going to be a 10-1 or whatever, but I do think it's going to be pretty solid split. Like it'll be like a 20-80. Yeah. Right, on what they give you on the odds there.
He's going to be the underdog, baby.
Yeah, no, he is. So you better. And I warned Crow that I'm going to be hedging everything, man. So you're going to have Mind Your Biz betting over here, and you're going to have Mind Your Beeswax, right? Don't worry about who that is. But I don't know who runs that wallet, but they'll be betting on both sides of the fight.
My biggest, my only weakness in this fight will be cardio. I have been hit by cars. I've been clubbed in the back of the skull multiple times with ball bats and didn't even know it was happening. I was still going after somebody else. I've been through everything. I have scars all over the back of my head from shit. Nobody wants to hit me straight on. They always want to get me from behind for some reason. And Kristen actually saved my life that night. I was getting clubbed on the back of the skull with a ball bat. I literally had no idea he was doing it. And she grabbed the guy with the bat and pushed him up the driveway. That was the night I had to knock out her son's dad. His brother was there with a ball bat. I never saw him once. So I will tell you, like, I will not be beat physically, but I could possibly beat myself if I get a little too flashy too quick. We'll see what
I'm
happens.
most concerned about, because the guy I'm fighting is apparently in the best shape of his life.
Mm-hmm.
He's boxing. He's been training. He's already, been boxing over this last couple of years. So that will be interesting, baby.
We'll see what happens, man. All I know is I'm drinking afterwards, one way or another.
That's right. Crow, here's what happened with me. It's so crazy. I went from 248 pounds to 238 pounds.
I haven't weighed 248 since I was 8.
Here's what happened.
Literally
training all the harder, like pushing it too much, overtraining, and eating super healthy and clean. And all of a sudden I'm weighing 254. I went from 238 to 254, but it was all from the inflammation and water weight in my body. I was like, so overtraining, all the inflammation.
Yeah.
That's why I pulled. But now I'm already back down to 238.
Yeah. Good.
It's like, and all that happened like this week. So crazy.
Yeah, if I were 238 pounds, I would just be balls. There wouldn't be anything else of me. It would
just be your nutsack alone. 238 pounds, baby.
My feet and balls. That would be it. I wouldn't have a head or arms or anything anymore.
That's right,
gentlemen. I'm gonna call my wife before she passes out for the night, because she's been out and about. This has been awesome, though. We've hung out for 2 hours.
2 hours.
We talked about Cardano for half of it.
That's
so pretty
fun.
Good.
I want more Cardano in the future, and I'm pumped to get to know you more. I love you. Thanks for coming on, Crow, my man, and Seth. You guys are freaking legends. Love you guys. Pumped for this party. Everybody go to George's party in our description.
It is going to be a hell of a good time. I know some other people that I've got coming. I got a Navy SEAL special operator dude who wants to pick my brain about YouTube and shit, who lives in Vegas right now. So I know he's a huge motherfucker. This guy's arms are bigger than my chest, and I'm not even kidding. He's on YouTube, but I don't want to say who it is yet. I'll surprise everybody. But there's going to be some interest. Kane, I think, is going to be there. There's going to be a bunch of people between now and then. It's going to be a really good party for sure.
And of course, Ben Armstrong. And who doesn't want to see him get his ass kicked? As we discussed before, baby. It's going to be on. We're gonna find out who he's fighting at George's party.
He's fighting Cassie, I thought.
Oh, Cassie.
I'm just kidding. I actually like Cassie. I love Ben. I'm just cracking jokes. He'll probably get pissed at that but it's all funny. You kind of have to laugh about it. And he laughs at himself every day now. So I congratulate him on that, because this shit was crazy. So
this was crazy.
Yeah. Cassie's cute. She's sweet. You know what I mean? I got to give him shit though.
Yes. And so he's the main event. We got to give him shit galore. It's coming,
he's
baby.
The main event. Does he even have an opponent? Because I know the one dude, there's no way that dude's showing up anywhere to fight anything.
Yeah.
So, hey, there's options for opponents.
There's plenty of people who volunteered. I'll put it that way. There's as far as people who think they've got a gripe with Ben, a ton of people think they have a gripe with Ben, and it's got to be, what is it, like a dozen people who volunteered?
And there's even someone in this vicinity right now who is a potential option as well, in the chat. So,
Seth, are you going to fight Ben?
What?
Well, what? No. I mean, I didn't say that, but it's a possibility.
Seth is kind of fucking jacked, though, man. I don't know how that would. I don't think you guys wouldn't even be in the same weight class, would you?
Oh, I can always make weight. I can
See
always
that?
drop
See,
water.
I just fed you a little bait and you took that. You took
did.
that. Yeah, you like how I did that? That's some CIA style shit. Okay, so when is the announcement, Seth?
There is no
George's
announcement.
party.
Yeah, that's just it. There's no announcement. Nobody knows whether or not. I can tell you right now that I haven't signed any contracts. Nobody's offered me a fight. I can say that. Oh, yeah, fully right now. So, yeah, there's no announcement. I couldn't give a spoiler right now if I wanted to, other than to tell you, like,
Listen,
unless you
man,
think me giving you nothing is a spoiler.
A lot of people think Ben might be a pushover, but there's something inside him, dude. He grew up pretty rough too. You know what I mean? He's got a couple fucking marbles loose, as we all know. And it is what it is. But you get him in there in a dangerous situation, I bet he's a scrappy little rat. I mean, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I think he's probably going to get after it with somebody, whoever it is.
Oh yeah,
so
he can windmill with the best of them for sure. He can windmill with the best of them. But yeah, like you said, you get in there, little squirrel brain, little monkey brain. Start going ape shit.
Is there even going to be a girl fight?
I like how Seth is plotting this shit in his head. He's thinking about it. There's no contract signed yet, but I can tell something's brewing. He's getting ready. He's sizing them up. All right, guys. I love you guys. I appreciate you having me on, and it's definitely been a real good time. I'm going to go call my wife before she passes out.
Love you guys. Peace out. Love you, Crow.
Throw your coins.
Seth. Peace.